Do you see me meeting anyone, anything in my chart? Um, well, let's take a look. And the chart that we have up, just so that you see this, right? You see how I talked about Jupiter in Aries. We're going to use red for love. Okay. So right there with that red arrow. Yeah. So you're saying you want like a little bit of Cupid's arrow or something? That is your 8th house cusp line. That is at 4 degrees. You see that? It's at 438. So actually, that's at 5 degrees, we can say. What that means is right now, Jupiter is in Aries at 1 degrees. And it's in your 7th house. Now, you don't have anything natally in Aries energy. But let's go look at your other fire energy. 2nd house cusp. Oh, see, she has Libra in the 2nd house as well. And that's that relationship energy, right? And then we also say that we need to look at someone's 7th house cusp line for that, right? Typically, that's what we say. Yeah, Pluto. I heard Pluto. Okay. And so if I'm hearing Pluto, that tells me before Pluto gets to here, trines here, it could be a while. Because see how you have Pluto right here at 0 degrees? This is your 5th house. And that's, 5th house is romance. That's how it all begins, right? Dating, mating, flirting, all that stuff. It begins here first in the 5th house. See how it just took my arrow? It was like, you suck. Okay, thanks. So Pluto is here in your 5th house. But you don't have anything until we get to like 8 degrees. And that's okay because something will happen absolutely when Pluto gets closer to like this 4 degree mark. You see that? But let's go look at your other air sign. You have something at 7, right? You have your midheaven at 7. These are all different ways you could meet somebody. Your husband definitely lined up with your 7th house and your Pisces energy, right? He definitely lined up with that. But not everybody's, partners, whether they're going to be dating or eventually marry them. Sometimes those people are found in their 2nd house. They could have some strong Libran qualities and whatnot. Because for you right now, anyway, you found out the people that you've been, you mentioned in the past, it wasn't really great, right? You said something about, it just wasn't really great. It really was strong Piscean energy that was coming through at that time because, if it's not, Pisces is, somebody who's very artistic, someone who's into music. They can be a spiritual person. They can be a performer of some sort. And I've known people who have similar energy to this, where they kind of show up almost as a salesperson, but see, they can be, and you even mentioned this, that somebody online, I think, presented themselves to be something that they weren't. I don't know if they were misleading. I can't remember what you said, but you basically said you weren't too thrilled about it. I think something about someone just got out of jail or some crap, and that's Pisces as well. People who are, because that's Pisces. The public doesn't see you. Pisces energy is somebody who's hidden. So it could be somebody who's in a hospital, right? And there's a lot of different reasons somebody can be in a hospital. It could be somebody who works for the prison system. They don't have to actually be behind bars. They can work for a major institution of society. That is Pisces energy, right? They can work for it. This is also Hollywood. Someone can be like a director, a performer, literally an actor, right? That's all Pisces. So there's a lot of different ways. So let me take a peek here. Do you belong, or have you gone to a group for people who've lost somebody? I'm only mentioning this because you have Chiron at 25 degrees in Pisces here. Have you gone to a group, like for grieving or whatever? And have you ever thought about it? And I'm not saying like that's the answer, but I know that this Neptune is going to touch upon that Chiron. And see, Chiron normally represents a wound. And if Neptune touches upon it, Neptune can soften that wound. It can soften it. It can even kind of make it disappear. This is all in your 7th house. So Jupiter, not so much. You already tried working with Jupiter in your 7th, and that's what brought you the not so great stuff. But that was also because we had Mars going through Gemini. And so, yeah, that makes it a little bit difficult when Mars is in okay, it doesn't like my lines. That's a little bit difficult because it's, yeah. Remember, Gemini can be a salesperson, just like Pisces energy. It's a good talker. So, yeah, it can be people who can be manipulative, or they may not be 100% honest. And it doesn't have to necessarily be to be hurtful, but if I had just gotten out of prison, I might not tell on somebody that I just got out of prison. I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot of different ways this can look. So, let me see, what else do we know is on the radar? The one thing I can tell you for sure, when this energy of the North Node and Jupiter occurs, so for this is fixed energy, right? So what this tells us is that for anybody that has, you would want to look in your chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees of Aquarius, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees of Leo, which you do actually. You have 4 degrees, your Mercury at 4 degrees, and Mars is going to be on it at that time. Interesting. You see that? This Mars, actually, this Mars just went past, because your Mercury's at 4 and your Sun is at 5. Yeah. So Mars can represent masculine energy and romance because, well, that's Leo energy, right? Interesting. So maybe you do go on vacation and you meet somebody, or maybe somebody, maybe you go to chat rooms for dating because you have 11th house Leo energy there. This masculine energy right here is connecting to your Mercury and your Sun. Yes, it sure is. It's going to be very fiery, almost theatrical, because Mars can be a little physical too. Mars in Leo is very physical performances even. And that would have to be beneficial. But going back to what I was saying, that Taurus is fixed. So I'm going to keep this in red. That squares this. Your Mercury and your Sun are going to get squared by this North Node and this Jupiter. I'm sorry that I'm saying this, but you started asking about something else. And so this is what I'm seeing, because it's here. It's, this is information and news. Leo, Mercury, your Sun, your light, the way you shine, the way you communicate and radiate, the way you have a good time, your optimism. This bit of luck and benefit is going to create a square, which is stress and tension. It's stress and tension to your Mercury. I don't know if you have siblings, but can definitely be children involved because it's Leo energy. So it could be your daughter. Do you and your daughter kind of have a relationship? I know there are some parents, especially mothers and daughters, where they kind of become friends, because the daughter's old enough and the relationship changes. The dynamics just change. It takes on that role where, they're kind of too old for you to be telling them what to do. So it's almost like friends. And so this is angling that. Yeah, that's stress and tension. That's angling that. Let me see if you have, so the node's going to be here. We got that down pat. And so I have to show you that here too. But just so you know, this square that I'm talking about, because that's what this is. This is now a T square that you're going to have. The north and the south node in Taurus and Scorpio will square your sun and your Mercury. But what's going to happen is your sun is going to get squared before this stuff that I'm talking about, this stress and tension. This is going to happen before that Jupiter thing comes along. So it's going to be kind of interesting because at this point on this date, the nodes they're already done squaring your sun. They're already done squaring your Mercury. Jupiter, on the other hand, is going to go up in numbers. So it is already throwing stress and tension to this. It's already doing that because it's within orb, which means it's close enough to affect it. The one coming from the nodes is already done. So it's like after some stress and some tension, there may be some ease that comes along. And Jupiter is normally beneficial. It's normally beneficial. That male figure up here, that's what's interesting with this. And that's what could definitely throw a monkey wrench into this, is because Mars is known to do that. That's how Mars rolls. So there is a male figure, and this is in your 11th house. So this is groups and friend energy. And it may not be a male. So let me rephrase that. It's masculine energy. So it can be a female that's very assertive. It could be a female that's very assertive. It can be a neighbor even, because that's Mercury. That's when I said, does your daughter, do you kind of feel like friends? But Mercury's neighbors, it can be coworker energy as well. Okay. This can be online neighbors. If you're like I mentioned about, whether it's YouTube or Facebook, or if you're in other chat rooms for dating and romance, because 11th house with Leo. Yeah, absolutely. There's a masculine energy that will then come here at this 5 degrees. It'll stay. Honestly, this is going to be, like I was telling you, you're going to feel stuff before this. You're absolutely going to feel stuff before this. Mars is not a very fast mover. It's not incredibly slow, but it's not very fast. And so I would give this window of some stress and some tension. This could be like a 2-week thing that you experience, because Jupiter does not move fast, and neither do the nodes, and neither does Mars. Okay. So I would say there's probably going to be like a 2-week time, a 2-week window where it's going to feel like, okay, gee, where's the good that you said that was coming? Damn it. Right. Just so that it's about communications, because it's the 3rd house cusp line, which is also that Mercury energy, because Mercury rules the 3rd house. So it's neighbors, it's coworkers, but it's people you're really close to, because it's Scorpio energy there. All right. People where, yeah. That's why I'm asking if your daughter feels like a sibling sometimes. And your 9th house of beliefs and your ability to travel. So this is talking and relating and communicating, social media, right? And so that is going to create that square to that house cusp line. So it's a pretty big deal, because it's not just planets. It's not just the nodes. You have, your 3rd and your 9th house cusp line that are getting angled by that. Now, I'm really sorry. This was supposed to be about just giving good news tonight, but you asked, and so I have to tell you what I see. It's not like end of the world stuff. It's not like the walls are coming in or falling down around you. Not at all. This is about the way people talk and relate and communicate. Okay. This is just about, maybe somebody's getting a little fired up, right? It's the 3rd house. I'm going to draw the line. So it's the 11th house and the 3rd house and your 9th house. Okay, will you let me draw a line? Thank you. And the 9th house. They create a T-square. So the way I communicate and relate, and the way I think, the 3rd house, with the 9th house of my beliefs about the freedoms, my 9th house, the beliefs about my values, what and who I value. It could be about love, religion, spirituality, learning, higher learning. You mentioned your daughter should be graduating then. So there might be something there involved with that. I know we looked at her chart before already, and it looked like she was absolutely going to be graduating. It's a very beneficial time. I don't have this on the software. This is a chart that I just copied. So on the next live or at another time, if I ever tell you guys that kind of stuff, if you could remember it, that's great, because then you could just tell me what your perfected planet is. No, I haven't been to a grief group. Okay. Have you thought about that at all? And I'm not saying, like, that you should do it, that might not be your thing. I don't think it would be my thing, I'm being quite honest with you, and I might even have said this to you before. Did we talk about this before? Because you've got that, Mercury in Leo and the Sun in Leo, to you, that may just feel like a Debbie Downer. It may just feel like that's not a place for you. That for you, that might make you feel worse being around other people who are grieving like that, and I could understand that. I know I couldn't do it personally, I don't think I could, and if I did, I'd probably have to do it, um, I'd probably have to I'd have to set, like, a deadline to it and then be like, "Okay, I promised myself I would do this for, like, I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks or something, and then I'm done," and I would have to as long as I knew there was a deadline, I'd be willing to go through the course, you see? But who knows? You can meet people, but it shows something interesting about a release of that wound, and it does have to do with your 7th house, which I would relate it to partnerships and your marriage and John and the loss. Let me see. I'm still going through the closet that's full of things. Did I answer that question? I mean, this is looking only 6 months into the future. When I was pulling up and looking at all those different areas where you could meet somebody, like if something obvious, that doesn't mean you still can't meet somebody. I guess I'm looking for something that's just more substantial, something that wouldn't just simply be somebody flirting with you or, where it's something a little bit more meaningful. Because again, what are you looking for? I don't know. Are you looking for that? Are you looking to get involved just to have fun and laughs and just someone to keep you company? Um, uh, yeah, I mean, it really comes down to what you want, what it is that you're looking for. The things I pointed out were really things that were a little bit more lasting. But yeah, this 3rd house thing just looks like it might be some stress and some tension for that time, just for fun and company. Okay, good. I haven't been to a grief group. Okay. Meet people I haven't met. I have met some a couple days ago on a dating site. He is a Scorpio named Rob in IT and sales, have not been on a date yet. Okay. Okay. Because you have Jupiter in your 7th house right now, that makes sense, right? Because that's what Jupiter is going to do. It'll be able to bring people to your 7th house. And then just so you know, the Jupiter, yeah, you're only going to have a few months, 2 months before it's already out of your 7th house. It's in your 7th house for a very short time. Yeah, for a very short time because you have the rest of your Aries energy is your 8th house. That's another reason why I mentioned about going, whether you were gonna be attending a group, and it doesn't even have to be going to a group to grieve. It could simply be something that's connected to, this is what I'm hearing, uh, doing something, an activity for people who have lost people. So it can be like, you know, whether it's crafting or pottery or painting or something like that, like a niche for people who've lost people. You follow? Or for people who've lost partners, people who've lost, mates, but some sort of an activity for those people. So it's not focused around the grieving process. I mean, I don't know why this is what's coming through, but this is what's coming through. But you all have something in common. And the thing that you have in common is that you're there because you enjoy the activity, but you also have that underlying thing that occurred. You follow? So it's not just about the grief. It's just that you're around others who understand what you went through because they too went through it. I don't know if those exist. I would think they do. And again, those were just examples. Those were just examples. It does not mean that you have to go start crafting or painting or pottery. Could be food, it could be cooking. It could be traveling. You're like, "Hey, I like to travel, damn it." And so maybe there's you know, what do they call them? Um, I can't think of the name. Some sort of a traveling group for widows or some shit or yeah. I mean, I I don't know. These are just examples. Just examples. And, that one thing, yeah, that's what came in. So maybe there's something there in that for you. Yeah, very interesting, very crazy. Um, so you met someone that's a Scorpio by birthday. Well, that makes sense because you have Scorpio on your 3rd house right here. And that's talking and communicating, and it was online, it was digital. That is the 3rd house. It's social media, but it can be online platforms, to hook up with people for whatever, just to talk, whatever it is. And your 11th house, yeah, groups, digital, online groups for romance because it's Leo energy. So I would say what's interesting, yeah, I think it's fascinating because Scorpio and Leo, they square each other. They just do naturally, right? They're both fixed signs. Um, but if you have one foot in or one toe in the water, that's the first step, And when it's time, it'll be time. But again, you're just looking for fun and companionship, so that's easy, isn't it? Like if you're already talking to somebody and you like to travel, do you know what else you like to do? Do you know and, I think it's more difficult for people who are really about their family and who have a chart that's geared towards sacrificing and doing for others, because then it's like, "Well, what do you mean? What do I like to do? That's never mattered before," you know? Um, but what do you like to do for fun? Well, let's go to her 5th house. She likes group energy. She's got Aquarius in her 5th house, so something that's unique and different. Astrology is that Aquarius energy as well. You also have Capricorn energy, work. She likes to work too. So what that can mean is interesting. It's building, Capricorn is like structures and organizing, setting up for success. That's Capricorn energy, and that's in your 5th house of fun, my happy place. Yeah, goals and ambitions, Capricorn energy. Um, Group energy, Aquarius, so that's gonna be like social causes, humanitarian type of work, science. This is all in your happy place, sir, sis. All in your happy place. And you also have your vertex at 13 degrees on your 6th house cusp line, which can be okay, again, it's group energy, but that's 6th house and your vertex being there. So friends, when was the last time you met up with friends? Like just friends, right? Online makes it easy. I can see that. And you get something out of that because, well, this also expresses as online and group energy. Yep. Coming together with friends online. But it's in the 6th house, which means you can do it in ways that can be part of your daily routine. 6th house cusp line, right there. And that Vesta the vertex is important because that's usually where a door opens, an opportunity of some sort, or something, something ends and something begins. And it's always associated with friends and groups because it's in Vesta. But your opposite one is going to be in Leo, and it's in the 12th house. Now, your 12th house energy is usually going to be something that's far away. It's 12th house, so it's the hidden. So, this can be overseas, so literally far away. It could be theater, musicals. I'm just trying to give you more things that you think are fun or there are ways for you to meet other people because that's how it begins. There's other ways to meet people than online. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but we kind of just got to get out there and be available for stuff. But it sounds like you're already doing that. So I hope this makes sense to you. What do you think? She said, definitely travel. Uh-oh, it happened 12 minutes ago. Oh, for you, it happened 12 minutes ago. There you go. Happy New Year, D. Yeah, I'm on we're an hour behind you. I've been saying Happy New Year, I feel like, for 3 days now, to be honest, so it doesn't matter to me. Like, seriously, I'm not cracking open any champagne or anything. It's been 35 years since I went on a date. I know. I'm sure. Or what about with friends? What about, like, out on lunch, just getting lunch with girlfriends or shopping? I'm not into that shit myself, so it's so easy for me to recommend it for somebody else. Because most people seem to be into that. Like, that's not me, but for others, if that's their thing, then that's their thing. But did any of the other things I mentioned about fun, because that's, having a little bit of Capricorn, you have Capricorn and you have Aquarius in your chart. Okay. So Aquarius is social causes, doing things for humanity, right? Yep, social causes. So, there's a lot of different ways we can get socially active, like a lot of different ways. So I don't know if I mean, I think, yeah, you would have to really kind of experiment and see what you like. Actually, let me see where your Uranus is. That'll tell us. Oh, look at that. It's in her first house. So it's in Virgo. Okay. Details matter. Unique inventions, making things, because that's Uranus. It's creating things. See, you have Aquarius in your fifth house, very creative energy. Um, Teaching. I know we've talked about all this before, but the reason I'm going over this though is because this is in that house of fun. And these are ways you can meet other people. Like, give us, like, how did you meet John? What were you doing? Like, how did you guys happen to meet? I just mentioned school. Maybe y'all, yeah, I don't know. Taurus energy could be like at church, but I don't know if you necessarily are religious inclined, and you don't need to tell me because, that's your business. But the ninth house is spirituality and religion. Lisa Richter is here. Hey, happy new year. How are you? I didn't even see you. You snuck in. You snuck right past me. That's a good thing. Welcome and happy new year, Lisa. How did your Christmas go? Your week for Christmas? How did everybody's Christmas go? I know I talked about, yeah, stuff on my end. Not horrible. But just kind of chaotic for some folks. So Central. So we still have a bit. What is she talking about? Oh, Central Time. Right. We still have a bit. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'll mind my own business. Yes, G. It all makes sense. Need to go to lunch, shopping, dates for sure with my girls. Okay, so you do like to do those fun things. Okay, if that's what you do for fun, then do it. Me, fun would be like, yeah, I'm a weirdo. Do you know what I'm saying? I do like to do art and draw and stuff. I do like doing that, but that's more than just fun for me. Like that's like going to the other side, right? I'm literally, you dip out of the material and the tangible and you're somewhere else. And so, yeah, I love it for that. It's not the normal fun. Astrology, right? Astrology, I find very fun. If I didn't find it fun, I mean, I'm not going to, there are times where it's just like, but I do enjoy it a lot. And I have Uranus in my fifth house, to give you that example. I have Uranus in my fifth house, which is interesting because you do too. And I'm saying you do too because you have Aquarius energy there. And Uranus rules Aquarius. But your Uranus is in Virgo. So there's something with details, right? There's connecting the dots. The great troubleshooter of the zodiac is Virgo. But yours is, because it's in the first house, it's really about self. It's about self. So cleaning, possibly maintaining your body, like, whether it's through yoga and walking, some sort of a physical activity for yourself. There's another example of things you can do. You have Uranus in your first house in Virgo. Yoga, walking, whatever. Another form of taking care of the body that isn't, it's not like going out and running 5 miles. It's something that's, maybe getting a massage or having some Reiki done on you or whatever, like that would be fun for you. Things that have to do with your physical body and your health. It's not so, well, it's both for you because it's in your first house, but something different, unique and different, definitely. Possibly something cutting edge, something that's just so unordinary, might even be kind of a little experimental because you have Pluto connected to that too. Now that I see that. Oh, weird. Okay. Had to do with food. Bam. Look at that. John and I met at a barbecue on the 4th of July. Okay. I'm like Taurus. It's food. How far was the barbecue from where you live? Did you have to travel for the barbecue? I'm just curious because I want to find out where that, I just want to know that without having to go back and discover it in your chart. It just takes us so much more time. Happy New Year, Cassie. Happy New Year. Cassie's like, I just woke up. Happy New Year. Yes, okay, so she does go, okay. Okay. Well, so am I. I am so happy that Dennis brought you to the channel as well. Yep. Yes, yes, yes. So it was only a couple of towns away, maybe 10 minutes away. So you didn't really have to travel. It was in your neighborhood. Well, would you consider that in your neighborhood? It was a couple of towns away. So I think we can say that's part of the local community. It wasn't like a road trip. It was just 10 minutes away. So that's third house energy. That's that Scorpio energy. Ah, Scorpio. That was here. It happened in your third house. There was a barbecue. Yeah. Oh, why did it do that? Look at that. Deluxe. Maybe that's spirit saying, that's it. You've got it. And then you have a conversation because that's the third house. You start talking. Then you find out that you have similar beliefs. The opposite of the third is the ninth house, right? Taurus energy. Yeah. Interesting. So I think you're doing the right things. You're doing as much as I think anyone can do, considering just how the world is in general. Okay, it was only a couple of towns away. Okay. All right. Below the video, I'll have all the degrees for those of you who like to pay attention to the degrees in your chart. Again, if you don't know and you want to know, just comment below.